Would you give up your ability to have ownership and greater economic gain if you were guaranteed a standard of living that most people would consider to be okay? Hi, I'm Todd Liles, and I'm about to violate one of the core principles of relationship building. I'm about to talk politics, but you know what? It's okay, because today we're going to talk about the difference between capitalism, socialism, and communism. And as far as I know, none of my clients are communist or socialist. They're all capitalist, and so am I. So let's go ahead and begin just real briefly. What is capitalism? Well, there's a lot of different definitions, and I get that. And I'm not a socioeconomic political professor, but I'm going to give you the breakdown as I see it. You can get the simple breakdown too by checking out most of the resources that we all look towards, which is the internet. So if you're asking what is it and you're looking, you're probably going to get a similar breakdown to what I'm going to show you. First of all, capitalism is basically private ownership. You come up with a great idea, you patent it, you own it. You get to sell it for profit. It's a competitive market, which means you get to take your product, your idea, your service to market, and value is an agreement. It's not guaranteed. So it's up to you to set your price, and then it's up to you to build enough value that the market will say, I will accept that, and I will buy it from you. The market can say yes, the market can say no, or the market can say, hey, let's negotiate and try to work on this together. I like that. And then classes, if you talk about a class of people, they're more naturally defined because those that will succeed will rise to the top, and those that are not succeeding are not going to rise to the top. And yeah, I know it's not necessarily quote unquote fair, but guess what? Life isn't necessarily fair. And just because classes are more naturally defined, it doesn't also mean that people aren't going to be born into rich parents. I get that. But at the end of the day, if you've got this idea and it's part of who you are, then you can still go out there and you can try to improve your position, which to me is a great thing. Let's compare it against the other options here. And I've often found myself going, well, what is the difference between communism and socialism, and not necessarily having the best answer? So I'm going to do my best to keep it simple, see what you think. Communism from common ownership. It means everybody owns everything essentially mutually. There's no class distinction, or at least there's an attempt at no class distinction. And then you are given by your need. There's the old red star, hammer and anvil. Not anvil, but sickle, hammer and sickle. Socialism, socially owned. Commonly owned, socially owned. So far, I'm having a hard time. Looks like they just put in a word that's more acceptable. It is determined basically by two approaches. One is by your contribution. Okay, sounds a little bit more like capitalism. You get a little bit more based off your contribution. But then there's a caveat for need and ability. So now we're kind of back to communism, which is receiving just because. Here's the part that may irritate a lot of you, or if you're on this side of the slant, you may think it's good. Value is essentially equated to your labor hour, and all people have equal labor hours. Okay. So all people have equal value per their labor hour. Pardon me. You may not be able to work as many hours as some other folks, and then there's where the need kicks in. Back to this idea of socialism. So here's why this will never work. Real simply, if it was going to work, nature would have already dictated it to work. Period. It just would have naturally happened. If it was something that was good, if it was something that made sense, if it was something that lined up with the human genome, it would have just happened. It hasn't. So let's evaluate this idea. We've all got equal socioeconomical classes. We've all got equal money. Well, now what happens if you want to live in a nicer, quote unquote, part of the country? You don't want to live in the desert. You want to live on beachfront property in Florida. How are you going to determine that? Money isn't going to do it. So you know what? Something will naturally kick in. Something will kick in, and it'll be political favor. Yes, there will be political favors. You can't get away from that. It'll be something that makes you more popular. What if you want to be a famous actor? Is the end result that we're just going to have really crappy movie with really terrible actors, or are we going to promote those people who are naturally gifted, and are they going to get further rank? Well, now imagine with money being removed, how much more valuable is fame, popularity? Exponentially, it's more valuable at this point. So what if you're really smart? You want to get into a great school like Harvard. How's Harvard going to pick who comes? Are they going to still pick the best students? How's Harvard going to continue to be the best school? Are they going to be the best school because now the government is just going to agree to give them more money? Well, aren't you elevating a class system? See, it doesn't work. There's going to be a type of class system no matter where you're at. Essentially what it boils down to is if there's going to be a natural class system, because humans just naturally do that, what is going to be your ability to make gains that you can control and that you can negotiate? And at the end of the day, it is the common realization of an idea of exchange for value for money, right? Capitalism. And it's your ability to negotiate for more money, whether that's through greater education, whether that's through harder work, whether that's just through the sheer act of sales skills. Whatever your approach is, that is the beautiful thing about capitalism, is that yes, you may be in a bad spot today, or you may be in a great spot today, but your spot can change. And the market's going to get to determine that. And you are going to get to have an influence on it. And at Service Excellence Training, we are hugely capitalistic. We believe that if you take learning, you can turn it into earning. So we will never support communism or socialism. We wave the flag, and we're proud of it. And America's not the only capitalistic country. There are other great countries out there, but capitalism is where it's at for this company, and I hope for you too.